Okay, welcome everybody, and we're on Daf Samachom Beis. How many supposed to have Yeshua?
Davi's going to be 3:45.
3:45. Davening 3:45. That was a big slichas and shofar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Samachom Beis is talking about again a Tanai that man made in the Kiddushin, and it's just defining what the Tanai is. It's very says come out exact carbon copy before the mission before. Spoke about if he said, I'm gonna ask that I'll give you 200 zuz. I'm gonna ask that I'll give you 200 zuz within 30 days. I'm gonna ask that I have 200 zuz. I'm gonna ask that I'll show you 200 zuz. And the mission said all the Kiddushin of the Gemara explained all the Kiddushin. So here it also has the same idea. And Moshe could have been all together in Mishnais. Here is a case where he says, I'm gonna ask that I have a field. I'm gonna ask the base core offer. Offer means doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't means I have a field, which is base core big. A base core is 30 saw. It comes out to 75,000 square amos.
Big?
It's big. A base saw is the size 50 by 50 amos, which will say 25 by 25.
Base saw, I mean the base of saw of wheat grain.
It means when you have grain and you plant it, a saw of grain that you plant in an area of, and that would be, so a saw goes 50 by 50 amos. The Gemara talks about the Mishnah talks about sa'orim. Probably that's the way that you measure sa'orim. Planting that amount of sa'orim, you need such an area. So these are areas. These are not volumes. This is an area. Base core is an area of land. So he said, I have a base core of land. If he has, then it's a good tonight. And if he said a certain place where I have it, he specified, like same thing as before. I talked about that I'll do it within 30 days. I'll give you the money. Here's similar tonight. I have this amount of land in a certain place. It has to be in that place. Only if he has in that place. That's what he said. That's what he means. I'll show it to you. So you might think it means I'll just show it to you. She's not interested in just looking around. Means the only, but it says he's just going to take it to show here. You see a base core of a land. She says that's not what I meant. I don't mean to look at it. I mean to look at yours. I want to see yours. The Mishas Chiddush is that even though it means looking, seeing it, it means yours. It means yours. It doesn't mean somebody else's.
And it might own it. Just by
he has to own it. He has to, what?
By showing it, he's not really proving that he owns it.
Don't think that it means she just wants to see it. She wants to see his. It has to be his. And maybe she's saying that if I don't see it, then it's nothing. Not even going to be a suffix. So different. That Tanom that the Mishnah says it ought to be taken literally. Literally means with explanation arich. That base offer means he has to have. We'll see what there's in Kiddush over there. Yesh l'makom ploni is dafka l'makom ploni. And if he says arich, it also means it has to belong to me. The first case was that if he has a base offer, so then she's mukadeshes. It sounds like if not. The nechushem yeshlo. Maybe even if he doesn't come up with it, maybe he has some place that we don't know about. Same Kashmash yesterday. The Brisa says openly that we are choshesh. That even if he doesn't come up, he says at the end he says I don't have. So it's no Kiddushin. Maybe he does have some place we don't know about it. You're right. You're right that we are going to have a Kiddushin suffix. If he doesn't show us, we still have maybe there's Kiddushin. Because maybe you have some place we don't know about. But if he does show us, then it's Kiddushin Vada. But if not, there's going to be a suffix. The case of the last case where she says Amanasha Arech, it doesn't show us, and then it's not Kiddushin at all. It's not even a suffix because she said that tonight is if I see it. If I don't see it, there's nothing. But if here we just said if I own it, maybe he does own and he didn't show it to us. So it'll be Kiddushin suffix.
All the cases say that it is Kiddushin.
If he has, if it's fulfilled, and if he doesn't have, so it's not fulfilled. So you might think in the Mishnah that it means that if he doesn't show us that he has karka, so it's definitely not Kiddushin. The Moshe says no, we don't know. Maybe he's hiding in something. Maybe he has someplace in overseas. He has a piece of base core offer. If he says Mokum Ploni, so we could check out if he has it or not. But if he says if I have, so maybe he has that and we don't know about it. So the Moshe says you're right. There's going to be a separate Kiddushin. The Mishnah just means it's Kiddushin Badai. If he doesn't have, so then it's Kiddushin suffix because we don't know. How come the Mishnah has two Mishnahs about the same thing? Before it was about money, here it's about land. It seems to be the same thing. Then there's a Chiddush. Now the truth is that Chiddush is not going to be in the Mishnah. It's going to be more on the diak of the Gemara if it's Kedushay suffix. the fact that it's Kiddushin Suffolk both places, which the Mishnah doesn't really say beferish. That's what the Gemara is going to stress is going to be the Chiddush. If he doesn't have money, he says, I'm marrying you, I'm not that I have 200 zuz. And then he says, I don't have. So you might think he does, maybe yes, he's not telling us. And it could be that he's hiding it, and we don't know about it. So over there, it's Kiddushin Suffolk. Ara Kala is like a mashman. You might think that there's no such thing as hiding land. And if somebody would own land, we know about it. It's possible to know about it. You ask around, and people will tell us if he has land. So you might think that's not even Kiddushin Suffolk. Kamash Malon, that is still Kiddushin Suffolk. So the truth is that this Kiddush that the Gemara is saying is the Kiddush, it doesn't really say in the Mishnah. The Mishnah doesn't tell us that if he doesn't have his Kiddushin Suffolk. It just says that it's Kiddushin Vada. But after the Gemara's explanation, so we're supposed to either see it in the Mishnah, or that's what the Gemara wants us to figure out, that even by land, it's Kiddushin Suffolk if it doesn't show us. I don't think that it's not even Kiddushin Suffolk. If he would have had land, we would have known about it. The next case was Amanash Ploni, and that's Pshita. If he says he has, if he has, he has. If he doesn't have, he doesn't have. When he says he has land in a certain place, what's the difference where it is? So we might think that she wants to live over there on that estate, and she wants to know where it is. But the Gemara doesn't look at it like that. The Gemara looks at it, she just wants to know that it's planting, produce. So you might think that he tells her, what's the difference? I'm going to bring you home the produce. That's my business. Even if I said it's going to be in a certain place, and maybe that's considered close, but maybe, what's the difference to you? Even if I'll bring it from far, that's the delivery is going to be my problem. You'll get your cucumbers. You thought you have cucumbers outside for breakfast. I'll bring them every day after davening. I'll bring the cucumbers home, and you'll have it for breakfast. Kamash Malon, she wants it to be next to her. If he told her a certain place, she wants to know where it is. She wants to live close by to his field. She doesn't want to be far away. So yeah, make his Tanai literally. I'm not sure. So again, the same thing as before. It doesn't mean to just show her in the bika. It has to have belongs to him. She wants to see his. Doesn't want to see, and that's what the Mishnah says. Like we just said that she wants that it should be his. She doesn't want to see somebody else's. But so Rashi says the stura means arisa, that he does have a share in it. You might think that having a share in it is good enough. Same as before the Gemara said that he has some investment, that he has a chelik in it. So that's not good enough. It has to be his. So too by the land, it has to be his, even though he's an arborist, that's not good enough. He has a sharecropper, he has a chelik in it. She wants to see that it should be his mamish. That's the end of the Gemara. We can put 2 dots over here. That's the end of the Gemara. The next one.
That means it's in bika that it's his. I mean, don't even have a meaning.
You might think that she doesn't mean. He doesn't mean that it should be his. That's that I want to show you. I'll show you land.
So what's the,
take it literally. She had no. That's that she wants to see land. You might. That's what the Mishnah is saying. That it's not. Don't take it like that. It means that it has to be his, not enough to show somebody else's. And the Gemara says a chiddush. That the Gemara says even if it's a little bit his because he has shares in it, that's also not enough. It has to be mamash his. The rest of the Gemara now goes on one point, and that's going to be there's an issue coming up. We're going to talk about if there's a base core of offer, but there are parts of it that are not usable, or it's higher up. Maybe it is usable. That it's on 2 different levels. It's going to be a split level field. Is that included in the base core? He comes to shows you a base core, and she sees that it's different levels. You have to go down, you have to go up. Is that considered a base core? So the Gemara is going to be 2 places. One is going to be hektish, and one is going to be by a sale. The Gemara is going to come to ask, what is the din by our subject? So just to get the hektish now, there's going to be one place where it talks about hektish. Doesn't let me do it over here. No, doesn't let. Okay. Gabi hektish. Gabi hektish now the following. So we're going to learn something about hektish. Then we're going to learn something else about mecher. Maybe just to point it out if we can find it. Here it is. Gabi mecher tonight. And then the Gemara is going to ask at the end of the sugya. It's just mapping out the sugya. First, it's going to bring you a din of hektish. Then it's going to bring a din of mecher. Then it's going to ask what's the din over here by our Mishnah. So we'll take a din of Kiddushin. Not Hektish, hektish. Somebody consecrated the field to hektish. No saying so far that's more or less a pasuk. That if somebody consecrates a field when Yovel is knowing, Yovel means when Yovel applies. So the din is, if he wants to be poded, no saying zera chomer chamish shekel kesef, zera chomer sor v'chamish shekel kesef. That when you want to redeem it, it doesn't go according to assess it, to see how much it's worth on the market. It has a standard price. What's the standard price? Zera chomer sor v'chamish shekel kesef. A chomer is an area of land which is a base core. Happens to be the same as our Mishnah, base core, and the amount of land that you could plant a core of barley, which is what we call a base core, happens to be 75,000 square amas. So the price is that is a base saw. This is a base core which is times 30. So a base saw would be 5,000. That's 50 by 50.
Yeah, 2,500.
What?
Yeah.
2,500 square amas. So maybe I made a mistake.
I think.
Maybe I made a mistake.
Is that how you do the math? 50 times 50, yeah. 2,500. And what's the?
No, so it still comes out. The cheshbon still comes out, and the base assigned is 100 by 50. That's 5,000, and times take it like you said, 2,500 times 30.
That's
2,500 times 30.
That's 75,000.
So I got it right. So a base saw is 50 by 50. A base 4 is 30 times that. So a base would be 2,500 square amas, and the base core is 75,000 square amas. So it says in the Torah that the price for 75,000 square amas is 50 shekel kesef. That's the right? The shekel is not what we call the shekel nowadays. Don't talk about our 50 shekel, the green bill. This is 50 shekel kesef is the standard. So
it's not the extra of the 5 shekel.
You can't talk about today's 5 shekel either, because the price of silver went down drastically from times of Chazal. The proportion between gold and silver used to be 25. Take the price of gold and divide it by 25, probably it'll be more in the range. But okay, I'm not sure about that either. But here, what does it say? You have to know the price of gold and silver compared to shoes or bread, what the buying power was in those days. So here it says, so far it says a pasuk in the Torah. It doesn't quote the pasuk, but that's the halacha that standard price for redeeming land of hektish is per base core 50 shekel kesef. Now, what if there was a base core, but it had in it ditches? That's a Mishnah that says that if there were neka, I don't know, the crevice is some kind of ditch that's deep 10 tefachim, or there's a rock, a boulder that's high 10 tefachim, that's not included in the cheshbon. When you want to know a base core, those are not in the cheshbon. But if it's less than 10 tefachim high or deep, then it is included in the cheshbon. That's the end of the Mishnah. The Gemara has a problem with that Mishnah. So far, it makes sense that you have a base core. Per base core, the price to be paid is going to be 50 shekel, 50 shekel kesef. But it says when you measure the base core, if there's an area that's higher 10 tefachim or lower 10 tefachim, it's not in the cheshbon of the base core. But the Gemara doesn't understand. We asked over there in the Mishnah, doesn't make sense. Even if it's not included in the rest of the land, when you makdash it, when you are oded, nikdeshu ba'pinav shayu. What's the difference? It goes according to the same cheshbon also. I mean, there's no real difference if there's a base core. That's only to know the price. That's the price. But if it goes in fractions also, it goes in proportion. If someone's gonna makdash half a base core, so then it's always going to be the price of 25 shekel kesef. If it's going to be a quarter, it'll be a quarter. And there's nothing to do with the actual size. So we don't care if this duplex field was going to have ups and downs, if it's considered one field or not. What's the difference? You want to be poded, so you have to be poded every inch, and every inch is going to be according to the proportion, to the ratio of zera chomer or misham shekel kesef. So it doesn't make any difference if the field is considered part of it, if it's considered part of the field or not. Let's say it's not considered part of the field, so it's 2 fields, so it's 10 fields. You want to be poded, every square inch is going to be according to the ratio of zera chomer or misham shekel kesef. So the mission doesn't make sense. But what is it telling you that if it's 10 tefachim high or 10 tefachim low, so it's not included? What does that matter? What doesn't make any difference? You might think that what I said is wrong. Maybe that it doesn't go in proportion. Maybe the din of Zerach Hom Mesorim b'chamish m'shekel kesef. It's only when it's a Zerach Hom Mesorim, but if it's going to be less than that, you can't be makdish it less than that, or it doesn't go according to the standard price. Then you have to go to the Shamai to find out how much is value. Maybe you might say that if it's less than the base score, it doesn't have chashivos, and therefore doesn't go with this ratio, and there's a different way of cheshboning it, and therefore it is important to know when the base score, if you have ups and downs over there, if it's ditches and boulders, if it's included or not, because if it's not, so then there's no base score. If you have no base score, maybe you don't go according to this cheshbon. That's not true. We're a minu. So there, it says in the pasuk, I forgot the pasuk, I don't know the pasuk, maybe it says on the side. No pasukim over here. I guess it says that if something like that. Here it is. If somebody is makdish from Misteh the land that he knows is nachla, so then he wants to that it goes according to this price. So it says the word sadeh. So that comes to teach you sadeh. You might only if it's a big sadeh that's all is there a chomesorim. Sadeh, matamadoma. Why do you say the word sadeh? If it says the price is going to be Hamish shekel kesef for zera chomesorim. I think only if you have a zera chomesorim, only if you have that much field, which is a base core, 75,000 square meters. And the other sheklish binyan azeh, he was makdish such a big field. Nine lerabos lesech, chatzi lesech, so tarkav, chatzi tarkav, afilu rova. How do you know if he was makdish less than that? Lesech happens to be half a base core, 15 so, chatzi lesech half of that, so one so, 2,500 square meters. Tarkav is half of that. That's 3 kav, which is half a saw. And even a chatzi tarkav, and even a roba. Roba, I think it comes out that it's 10 square meters, more or less. It's about the size of the room, a small, little, tiny field. So how do you know that also goes according to the ratio of zera chomesom b'chamish m'shekel kesef? Tamalom sada. That's why it says the word sada to tell you.
If it goes with the ratio, why shouldn't it be the same?
No, that's what they're talking about. Do you go to the ratio or you don't? You might think you don't go to the ratio. You might think it's only one halacha. If there's a zera chomesorim, you have a score, then it goes with Hamish Shekel Kesef. But if you have less, it doesn't go to ratio. You might think it doesn't go to ratio. How do you do it? Go to the Shammai to find out. You might go to the assessor to see how much it's worth in the value of the market. But this special standard is only if it's a big field. But it's not true. The Brisa says that comes to tell you that according to the ratio, if that's true, so then there's no difference in the Brisa and the Mishnah that tells you that the hills and the ditches that they're not in the cheshbon. There's no difference if it's in the cheshbon or not. Every piece of land has to be nifter according to this ratio. So there's no difference if it's considered 1 field or 2 fields or 10 fields. Everything is nifter with that price. And the answer to this question is Amama will put back on. This Amora explained the Mishnah. That you're right. If it will be just ups and downs, there's no difference in the whole subject. It doesn't make a difference. We're talking about that it's full of water. That these ditches are full of water. And the reason why it's not in the cheshbon is because it's not zera, it's not plantable. You're supposed to talk about zera chomesorim means that the land is a kind of land that you plant on it. That's why it goes with this cheshbon. But if it's full of water that you can't plant over there, then it doesn't go with the cheshbon. Then you go to the assessor to ask how much is this pool of water worth. And then it says that only if it's 10 tvachim deep is it considered a pool of water. Less than 10 tvachim deep, that's part of the irrigation and it's fine. It's considered part of the field. And that's Pshat in the Mishnah. They can do me the slum, and it's not even much like that in the Mishnah because it says slum. It talks about the height. It talks about a rock. A rock is not, you can't plant on it. Besides the fact that it's higher, it's also a cellar. So now we're saying that the land that's deeper, not because it's just deeper. The point is that it's not possible to plant over there because it's full of water. If it's full of water, you can't plant on it even if it's a few inches deep. The water, you can't plant on water. No. The answer is Hanu. Nagni mikru, shidra dara mikru. Those are not called pools of water. Those are called nagni dara. Rashi says the word nagni comes from the word agan, which is like a bowl. And here Rashi says that the water is mitnakez. What's the Rashi over here? Shamayim is masim usochim. Come over aganos. That the water of the field. When you water the field, so it does have to have a place that the water should. I say mitnakez. English.
Nikuz is
drains, that the water drains into. So it's not that it's a pool that's not no shaykhs to do. You do have to have places that the water should be able to drain into. So we just finished one sugya where it's called Gabi Hektish. So what we learned when a person says a base core up for, does it include ditches and hills, ups and downs? So by Hektish, there's no difference to the whole subject. There's no difference. It's only if it's full of water. When it's full of water, then that doesn't go into the cheshbon. Okay, so we learned something about Hektish. Now we're going to go to a different channel. We're going to talk about Mecher. If somebody says, I'm selling you a base core of offer, there are ups and downs. Is it considered? Is it a good sale? Or he says that's not what I said. That's not what I meant. I meant that's one level. I don't want a duplex. Gabi mecher tanan. This is not talking about a house. A duplex is about a house by a field. Also, it could be that the person wants it should be on the same level. So here's the question over here. Gabi mecher tanan. A different Mishnah. Same issue about a base core, but not about hektish, but about a sale. Gabi mecher. I'm selling you a base core of land. And there were ditches that were 10 tefachim deep, or rocks, boulders that were 10 tefachim high. And in Dadrima, it doesn't go into the cheshbon of the base core. And the man says that's not what I don't want to have 2 levels, I want to have 1 level. But if you're less than 10 tefachim, then it's considered part of the same level, then it's a good mecher. It's word for word the same as hektish. As far as the Mishnah, she learned the Mishnah, she say very nice. 2 Mishnah is the same thing as hektish and mecher is all the same. But here, what the Gemara said before, it's talking about that it's full of water, dafka. That makes a difference. It's Amoron, Avrohom, he's the one who made the difference between 2 Mishnahs, and he says by hektish, it only means that it's not counted in the base core if it's full of water. But if it would not be full of water, then it is considered part. There's no difference considered part or not. But over here by mecher, by the case of the mecher, even if it's not full of water, just at a different level, that's the really reason why he says that. That's not what I want. My time. How come it's a time by a sale that I want the same level? He doesn't want to buy a field that he thought was one field, and he sees that it's ups and downs, looks like different fields. He doesn't want that. People don't want to have 2 levels on the field. They want to have the same level. So that's the Gemara's introduction, that we have 2 halachas. One is by hektish, one is by mecher. By hektish, it being different levels doesn't make a difference. As far as being makdish and being bodeh, it's all the same. There's no difference. The truth is over there, it doesn't even make a difference if it is 2 fields. You have to be bodeh each one on the price stand, that price. But by mecher, it doesn't make a difference that a person doesn't want to get a field that's on 2 different levels. And now the Gemara comes in. Now this all. Well, he says that you have to, it's not on the cheshbon, and therefore you have to give him more field, you have to give him more, you have to have a base core buffer on the same level. And if there's going to be ups and downs, that's not on the same. But now the Gemara wants to know, Hachamai, this thing by Kiddushin over here, what did he say? I'm marrying you on the condition that I have a base core offer. I think that there's a small note over here. If you would have said, I read to Kadeshas leave a base core offer is there, the base core offer. I'm marrying you for a base core offer, so then it will be the same as Mecher, I think. Because the same way that a person, when he buys something, he doesn't want to have it on 2 levels. So when she thinks she's getting it for a Kiddushin, for a present, she's getting this for, so she also wants to have it like a regular Mecher. She wants to have it on the same level. That's not the case over here. He didn't say, I'm marrying you for the base core. He's saying, I'm marrying you on the condition that I have a base core. So now the question is, he has a base core on 2 different levels. But ditches and hills, is that also good enough for what she agreed to marry him on the condition that he has that? Do we say it's like hektish, that as long as it's not full of water, it's also including the base core? Or it's like mecher, that it's not included, even if it's not full of water? And the answer is, Mistavro, the hektish, it's reasonable to think that it goes like hektish, that it is included. Means she can't say, I see 2 different levels, that's not what I meant. You don't have a normal field that's on 1 level. Why? What's your business? The whole difference for a farmer, that the land is on 1 level or 2 levels, that's more difficult for him. He wants to have it on 1 level, it's easy. And if it's on 2 levels, he has to go up, he has to go down, he has to get his plow. And it's difficult it's difficult. That's not her business, it's only his business. So if he has a land which is more difficult to work with, it's not a reason why she shouldn't be master to the Kiddushin. If he gave it to her at the Kadeshasli, then she's like anybody else. I don't want to work so hard. She wanted to have a field that's usable, not a field that she has to go up and down. But if it's only a question that what he has, and he says, I'm marrying on the condition that I have such a field, I have a field which is a base core, the fact that he has to work a little bit harder is not a difference to her. She just meant that he should have income of having such a field. If he works a little bit harder, it doesn't make a difference. The nimshal will be He says he has a business. Whatever the case may be, what kind of business he has. And it's more difficult than she thought it might have been. It's a more difficult kind of a business. But it's still, that's only his business. It's only his work. It's not that she's going to have to work more. He's going to have to work more. Before we spoke about when he says, I have a field which is in a certain place, then she is marked with the wants in a certain place because she wants the food to be near home. And if she needs cucumbers, let's say, she'll be able to go outside.
Come home all the time.
So that it says that maybe that's
But that's the women want the husband to come home, give him attention,
okay.
no?
Maybe that's maybe he also doesn't be involved. This case is having a little bit high, a little bit lower. So the tircha, but it's not. It's a mamas, but it's not like different. Maybe even by a job also there'll be. He says he has a good job, and then it comes out that it's not an 8-hour job. It's going to be a 15-hour job a day. Maybe you're right. Then what does it mean that? It means that it's a small tircha going up and down the hills. People don't want that, but doesn't mean that it's a whole different thing, ball game. But maybe there's a role for his thing also. So this whole thing became an agap because it spoke about a base for Rafa, and the question was, if there's ditches over there, hills, is it included or not? The Gemara says, Mr. that is included, even though by a method a person is makbid, but that he has this in the Tanai, that doesn't make a difference to us. Now we start a new sugya, no shaykhs to before, and this is a shas sugya we had a couple of times. It says in the side that we had it already in many nesachtas. Maybe we could just enjoy all the places we had it. Nedarim, Gittin, Yivamis. So this is what they call the Shasa, and it's called the Tanai couple. And then about when you make the Tanai, what they have to make a double Tanai. So this is called double Tanai and other conditions also. So we'll see in a second. But Meir Omer called Tanai Shen Tanai B'nei Ruben in the Tanai. So in Parshas Matos, is it? Maseh? Where is it? The story of Bnei Gad Bnei Ruben. Matos Maseh goes together, so. Maseh. I'm not made a mistake. I'm sorry. Matos, end of Matos. End of Matos that Bnei Gad Bnei Ruben, they approach Moshe and stuff. We have a lot of mikneh. We have Eretz Yazer, they're all Eretz mikneh, so we want to stay here. We want to get our nachal over here. And first Moshe was angry at them, and then they said, we're going to fight with everybody else. We're not coming to take down the morale of the people. We're going to fight. We'll go even in the front. But we want to have our nachal over here, and Moshe Rabbeinu agreed, and he made a Tanai. And the Tanai is that if you're, maybe the pasuk is on the side over here, if you're going to do as he said, then you'll get in Eretz Gilad, and if not, then you're going to stay like everybody else in Eretz Canaan. Okay. So over there, they said it both ways. If you do, if you don't, you don't. And that's what the Mishnah talks about. Ramei Romer, Kol Tanai, Shein Tanai, Reuben, and the Tanai. Any Tanai which doesn't fit the rules the same way Bnei Gad Bnei Reuben did it is not a Tanai, Shenema. So it does mean a pasuk. Why don't I see it over here? Here it is. Okay. ויום המשה עליהם, אם תעברו בני גד בני רובן אתכם עשי ידיים, כך חלוץ למלחמה לפני השם ונכבשה שפתיכם ונשאתם להם בסייע סגל עד לאחוזה. And have to continue the next pasuk. ואם לא יעברו ונאחזו בסוככם בארץ כנען. I'm not sure why he didn't bring down the end of the pasuk over here. So if they pass over with you the Yarden to go to Eretz Canaan and to capture the land, so then they can get their land in Eretz Gilad. But if they don't, then they're going to be with you in Eretz Canaan. ונאחזו בסוככם בארץ כנען. Rashi points out that they're going to, Rashi, the Gemara stuff doesn't say how many, what does it mean to be like Bnei Gad Bnei Reuben? So that's the point that Rashi over here, Rashi points out three things that are included. One is, you have to be a Tanai couple, it has to be double. Yes, if yes, yes, if not, not. And also Rashi afterwards says, word Denami, that you need a Tanai Kodon L'Maisa. Okay, that's the best that I can do. The Bina Tanai Kodon L'Maisa. That they say, if, then this. Means if you cross over the yard, then you'll get. That's called the Tanai. The Tanai Kodon L'Maisa. The Maisa means what's going to be done. If you first say the condition, and then what's going to happen. If you cross over the yard, then to fight, you'll get. That's called Tanai Kodon L'Maisa. Rashi is the third thing, Hein Kodon L'Lav. That when you talk about a positive and a negative, I'm sorry that it's not coming.
Why does it have to be? There has been. Why has to be Tanai Kodon L'Maisa and Kodon L'Lav? More serious that way?
I don't know why, but why are you saying this and that? There are two different points. One is that,
No, but on each one itself.
yeah, I don't know. Why is it? Why is this the way to do it? I don't know any of that. What's the chashivas of these three things? That has to be doubled also. Why is
Double
it
I can hear because you're stressing it.
okay?
That I hear. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe you don't mean it seriously. If you only say one time, maybe I give you $10. I tell you buy shoes, right?
You can say it two times, but you have to say it this way, yes, yes, and not no. You have to say
That's
yes,
what I'm
yes,
asking.
and
Double
not.
I hear, but the other ones I don't.
No,
hear.
double doesn't mean double means no. Double means if yes, yes, if not, not. That's what the words mean. Double doesn't mean say two times the same thing. You don't say if yeah, if this yes, if yeah, if this yes. It's not called a
By here, I want to give someone. I give someone $100. I want you to buy a suit. So if I tell them I want to buy a suit
on the condition that you're going to buy a suit with him.
And I want to stress, if you don't buy a suit, I want the money back. But if I tell them twice, go buy a suit, it's less strong. And that means I very more strongly want to buy a suit. It's not so serious.
I'm giving you. I'm giving you also not to buy real estate. That's a Meister Kedem is not. On the condition that you're going to buy a suit, I'm giving you $100. And you say it twice on the condition. Sounds pretty clear.
You say twice?
Okay. No, I said twice. Couple doesn't mean twice. Couple
Isn't it stronger if I say, but if you don't buy a suit, I want the money back. So that's stronger.
Okay. And there's also these other two things that has to be also Tanai Kodum Maisa. You say the if and then you say the then. Not the way we would say. We would say I'm giving you the money on the condition. That's not good. You have to say on the condition, I'm giving you the money. And also you have to say the positive, not the negative. You have to say if you don't, you're not going to buy a suit, then I'm not giving you the money. No. You have to say if you buy a suit, I'm giving you the money. If you don't buy a suit, I'm not giving you the money. That's called the They have all three conditions. So if Meir says it has to be, the Meir doesn't even enumerate what's included in this. Rashi tells us three things. Meir Omer, Kol Tanai She'en B'nei Knai B'nei God B'nei Ruben Tanai She'nemar V'Yom Aleichem V'Yavu B'nei God B'nei Ruben Zardain Im Lo Yavru. I don't know why they didn't prove this, print this part. From Lo Yavru Chalutzim Zaden V'No Chazu B'Sof V'Beres Kanan. So if you don't, if they're not going to go in front of the army, so then they should take Achuzu with the Neres Kalan like everybody else. That's the pasuk. And therefore, Rabbi Meir says, the fact that the pasuk says it tonight in this way, this is called a legal condition, and if it wasn't done according to all the legalities, it doesn't take effect. Rashi says what happens when it doesn't take effect. So I don't know what I would have said, but Rashi says that the thing you said you're going to do takes effect even though not without the condition. In this case, if somebody says, like Avrahom's case, that if you buy a suit, I'll give you $100. And he didn't do it the right legalities. So according to Meir, he gets $100. He can keep the $100. I'll give you $100. He's going to get $100. He doesn't have to buy a suit. Not that we say the whole thing is off. The whole thing is off only if you did the condition properly. If you didn't do the condition properly, so then the Maisakayim. And the condition is off. I don't understand it because we had a Teshuvah that said that even though we hate Dvarim Shavlevin and Dvarim, but if it's Muchach and not Sadi that he meant it, so we also take that into consideration. It's pretty unsavvy. Like
I tell him I want to buy a suit, maybe I'm willing to give it for other things. It's just I prefer he buys a suit.
He did it double, but he did the wrong order. Or he did
the wrong order. I don't understand, but the kafel I hear. It's not 100%.
Okay, so that's Rabbi Meir. That's Rabbi Meir Shita, Rabbi Meir. And then we have Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel that argues. Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel argues. He says that it's not a raya. It's not a raya from the pasuk that you have to do a double. Rashi says is only arguing. This is Rashi touches already. Is arguing on all 3 points that Rashi pointed out. Rashi himself says he only argues on the fact that you have double it or not. Taisus at the end of the big Taisus argues and says he has a kasha and Rashi. The kasha brings a Gemara that says that those who argue in the Meir says you don't talk about the Lamaisa. They will leave the Palagakulum. Taisus argues and Rashi says that he only argues on this one point. Just for contrast, the Tanaka for the Hudei Parluk Taisus says he argues on all the points. So what does he say? That it's not right in the pasuk. When they go to Reuben, that's because he did a double. Doesn't mean that if not, it wouldn't be good tonight. It means the kash would be why did Moshe Rabbeinu elaborate, say it twice? It must be that they have to do it like that. But if Meir says it's not a raya, it was necessary to say it double. If he wouldn't have doubled it, he would have only said, if you go to Eretz Canaan and fight, you'll get Eretz Gilad, and he just would have stopped over there. It would have been mashma maybe that if they're not gonna go to fight, they're not going to get anything. They can even forfeit what they will ship out in Eretz Canaan. Eretz Canaan is the west. Eretz Gilad is the east. Transjordan. So what the Moshe Rabbeinu say? If you fight, you get Gilad. If you don't fight, you're going to get Eretz Canaan. You'll get the west. And Avrohom says it's not a right that you have to do a double tonight. It could be that a single tonight is also good enough. But yeah, it would have been mashma that if you don't fight, you don't get anything. You have no nachla at all. Mashma that they are going to get the Eretz Canaan, even though they asked for something it wasn't fitting what they asked and didn't, but they still are going to get the Eretz Canaan. So he argues, according to this, he argues on everything, and according to Meir, he argues on according to Rashi, he argues on the necessity to say double. Okay, so there was a problem. Shapir Kamalei Rabbanim Begamliel Rabbi Meir. I mean, the Mishnah ends off. Rabbi Meir didn't respond. Rabbi Meir said a proof. Rabbi Begamliel disproved it. If he disproved it, so Rabbi Meir is off. So the one wants Rabbi Meir to answer. What are they arguing about? Shapir Kamalei Rabbanim is a kasha that you have to say double in order that it shouldn't have been much, but they're going to lose everything. Rabbi Meir. Isaac at night lav the night couple who does something. Lift up him al yavru. When Ochazu b'sochachem. The pasuk says, "You're right. You're right that I have no right from a Tanai couple for the fact that it says if you don't go to fight, so then you'll get a nachla amongst the rest of Am Yisrael." That you're right. They did have to say. Or else it would have been much, but that they lose everything. But Beres Canaan normally. The pasuk says Beres Canaan, and those two words Beres Canaan is extra. It could have just said and that meant that Beres Canaan. The part that would mean in Beres Canaan. So how come it has to say Beres Canaan? That's coming to say this point of tonight couple that if it wouldn't have said the tonight couple, they would have gotten in Gilad the way they wanted. Amud Beis. Beres Canaan normally. Shmamina. The tonight couple does. That's your major response to Chanin Gamliel's kasha. What was the kasha? That it didn't have to say that it does have to say the opposite side, not because of Hilchas Tanon, but because it else it might have been mashma that they're going to forfeit everything. But Meir says, for that you're right, there's such a habamina, but for that would have been enough to say, if they don't go to fight, so then they're going to be amongst you, which would have been understood, that it means they're going to get among. So how come it has to say, they don't lose everything? Why does it have to say Beres Canaan? To tell you that then they get in there. But if they would have not have been a tonight couple, then they would have gotten in Gilad, and that's what they wanted in the first place. Which means you do need a tonight couple. If you wouldn't have done the tonight couple, they would have gotten what they wanted. The only way that Moshe Rabbeinu could have stopped it is by making this double tonight. The Gemara goes out there. Why is Chanin Gamliel going to respond to that? Rabbi Chanin Gamliel, Elo Kasubach when Beres Canaan, Avamena B'Nochasu B'Sochachem Eretz Gilad, Aval Eretz Canaan Klal Lo. So here, Rashi, I think Rashi is saying that what would have been, this I always wonder, what would have been if Bnei Gad, Bnei Reuben would not have asked for Eva Yarmin? What if they wouldn't have asked for Eretz Gilad? What would have been? If everything would have been good, and everybody would have been happy with Hashem wanted to give them, they wouldn't have asked for special permission to get Eretz Gilad. What would have happened? What would have been with Eretz Gilad? What would have been over there?
We're split into 12 men.
So right, so I didn't know that, and it does say so. I might have thought. Don't think that's the preemptive mistake. The pasuk says opening when they went to capture Sichon and Og, it says Hachel Rosh, start inheriting, not just to fight. It means the reason that they fought Sichon and Og is not just to get into Israel. That's what they said in the beginning. They said if you give us permission, the rest is going to go through. But over there it says that Hashem hardened their heart in order that so then when Hashem told them to go into Sichon, to capture Sichon, to conquer Sichon, it doesn't say just to fight them in order to break through the door, in order to be able to get to Eretz Canaan. Achel Rush, start to inherit the land. So that says openly that was to be inherited. They settled in it. And the question would have been, why would have been if no one would have asked this specifically? So Rashi over here says, the Gemara says everyone would have gotten a portion in Gilad and also in Eretz Yisrael. So each Shevet L'chora would have gotten it here and here. So now the Gemara talks about, Rabbi Gamliel says, it would have said, "V'nochasu b'sochachem," Avamina v'nochasu b'sochachem be'eretz Gilad. Maybe even if they don't do what they're supposed to. They're not going to go to fight. So then they could get a nachla amongst you. But you might have thought, only get a nachla amongst you, amongst in Gilad. Like everybody gets a part of Gilad also. they'll also get the Gila. They're not going to lose everything. They're not going to lose. If it wouldn't have said anything, wouldn't have said anything of him, lo Yavru, then they would have lost everything. So it says, you have to speak out. No, you're not going to lose everything. You're still going to get. But what are you going to get? You might have thought, in Gilad, that everyone's going to get a portion in Gilad and in Canaan, and you're only going to get in Gilad. How do you know that they get Averes Canaan, Klal? You might have thought they wouldn't get anything in Eretz Canaan. So the pasuk has to say, Eretz Canaan, that if they don't cross over, so then they get a portion in Eretz Canaan also. They'll be like everybody else. So Gamliel says, in order to say that they'll be like everybody else and they're not going to be penalized, so it say that if you go, you'll get what you want. If you don't go, you'll be like everybody else. But in order to say it'll be like everybody else, it had to specify. If it wouldn't have said Canaan, you wouldn't have known that it'll be like everybody else. But it's not a right that tonight go. Rav Meir is Rav Meir says that's not true. Even if it would have said and it wouldn't have said it also would have meant Beres Canaan. To have a mean that you think that would have meant and only part of what you're getting. Everybody's getting partly in Canaan, partly in Gilad. And it says if you don't go like you said, you don't fight, so then you'll get amongst everybody. So Rav Meir doesn't think it means you'll get like everybody in Gilad. It means you get like everybody in everything in Gilad and Canaan. So Rav Meir sees the words Beres Canaan to be extra, and therefore he learns out from here that he needed to make a couple. Ad kan machlokas Rav Meir that says he needed a couple. He sees the extra word, and Rav says you don't see anything. Tanya, we learned in a brisa about this issue of Chanina ben Gamliel and Rabbi Meir. Rav Chanina ben Gamliel. Mashal ma'adova, Doma l'adam shein mechalik nechasel l'banav. The mashal of what Rav Chanina ben Gamliel sees in the pasuk is a mashal to a man who was apportioning his estate to his children, what they should inherit. Amar, Ploni b'ni yirashad plonis. Ploni b'ni yirashad plonis. Ploni b'ni. Ethan was saying says yirashad plonis. He had 3 sons. One son he said he should get a certain field, and the second son he should get a certain field, and the third son should give 200 zuz and he should get a certain field. It seems from the mashal, the nimshal, that there was a preferred field. Of course, not the rest of Am Yisrael preferred Eretz Gila. They wanted better Eretz Canaan. But according to the eyes of Bnei Gad Reuben, that it was Eretz Mikneh, it was fertile, it had pasture land, so to them that was considered a better field. But there's a price for it that they have to come to be chalutzim. They have to go in front of on the front. They have to fight in the front. So that's the mashal over here, that the father gave one son, he portioned him one piece of land, second son another piece of land, and the third son, he has to pay 200 zuz in order to get the third piece of land. And it seems the third piece of land is considered better. And if he doesn't give the 200 zuz, then he should get a chelek with his brothers. That's the story. That's the mashal. I'm not so sure. I'm not so settled in this Gemara, so I'll say it as we go along. And everybody, please help me. This is the mashal. The father said, the first son gets this chelek, second son gets this chelek, third gets this chelek if he pays for it. And then he also added on, if he doesn't pay for it, doesn't give extra 200 zuz to the kupa, whatever, so then he should get like everybody else. He should get together with everybody else. Mm-hmm. Now Rabbi Chanina is analyzing the mashal. What allows him to be able to get with the brothers? Only because the father repeated himself when he said, and if he doesn't, he should get with his brothers. If the father would not have said these words over here, lo yitain. I didn't mean to cross it out. I meant to underline it. If he doesn't give the 200 zuz, he should get like everybody. He should get together with everybody else. So Rav Gamliel will say this is a mashal to what I want to say. That if he would not have repeated himself to say this kefel, he wouldn't have repeated it. Then the brother would not have gotten with the other brothers. I'm not sure. I'm trying to be careful because the Gemara is going to analyze this, and I'm not sure where the Gemara is going to get to. But that's the mashal. In the Mishnah, it said that if Moshe Rabbeinu would not have repeated it, they wouldn't have gotten anything. In the Brisa explains that like Rameir said, that For that, it would have been enough to say, to answer this kasha, they wouldn't have gotten anything. Afilu. This is what afilu. Rashi stresses the word afilu. That if they would have just said, if you go chalutzim, you'll get gilad. That would have been mashma maybe that if they don't go chalutzim, they don't get anything. They don't get anything. Shafilu, but not only as kanal chalu, shafilu as kanal, not gilad, and what they wanted, and not even as kanal, would have gotten nothing. And the Rameir says for that it would have been enough to have said the and for that Rabbi Gamliel had to talk about there's another havamina. Not that they're not going to get anything, but they might not get in Eretz Canaan, but they might get they might have not gotten in Eretz Canaan, but they in Gilad they would have gotten. That much you would have thought. He would have thought they're not going to get in Eretz Canaan. Eretz Canaan, not that they wouldn't get at all. They wouldn't have gotten in Eretz Canaan, but they would have gotten in Eretz Gilad. That's what you have thought. And we're going to really say Kamash Malan, they get in Eretz Canaan. They do get in Eretz Canaan. Maybe that they get both, like anybody else. Everybody again. I think I would tell them how the truth was. I think the truth is that Moshe Rabbeinu was telling them that if you go chalutzim, you got what you want, and if you don't do it, you don't do what chalutzim, then you'll be like everybody else. But there are two stages in being like everybody else. Means don't think that you're not going to get anything at all, and don't think that you're only going to get in Gilad. You'll get in both. You'll get like everybody else. Everybody gets in Gilad and in Canaan. You also get in Gilad and Canaan. But you're not going to get only in Gilad that you wanted. You wanted to get your whole chelik. You wanted to get like their lamais of what they got. They got a whole chelik, a big chelik in Gilad. You'll get like everybody else. It's 12th of Gilad and it's 12th of Canaan. That would and there are two stages in order to say that. There are two stages necessary in order to bring out this point that they're going to be like everybody else. You're not going to lose everything, and you're not even going to lose Canaan and get the 12th of Gilad. You'll get also a 12th of Canaan. Now this mashal, I'm not sure, we're supposed to figure out this mashal now. The Gemara says like this. Although Damya, maybe I'll say erase these lines because it didn't come out nice. Okay. But that's the point of the mashal. The mashal says, Imlo, try again this one. Okay, that's nice. Imlo yitei yiresh emechav shar nechasim. And the Mashal says that he had to say this in order that he should get a chelik b'shar nechasim. And the Mashal of the Brisa is not the same as the Mishnah. The other Mashal of the Mashal is not similar to the Mishnah. Why? Hasam katani yesh b'mashma shafilu beres kanan lo yinchalim. And the Mishnah says that if it would have only said, it wouldn't have said the couple, it wouldn't have doubled it, then they wouldn't have gotten anything. Alma feilu leres gilad nami mani. It was necessary to double it in order to even have gotten a 12th of Gilad. They wouldn't have gotten anything. The Mishnah is mashma that they wouldn't have gotten anything. And Hacha Katani, in the Brisa, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say he wouldn't have gotten anything. The reason why he gets, with his brothers, is because the father said that if you don't get the 200 zuz, then you're going to get with your brothers b'shana chasim. In the Mashal, the reason why his father was to double it, not that he should get nothing. The Shana Chasim would become a honey. So I'm not clear this point of the Gemara. In the Mishnah, we said that if he wouldn't have doubled it, he wouldn't have gotten anything. How do you learn the Mashal? If you learn the Mashal here, the one brother, one son, you get this piece of land. This son, you get this other land. The third one, you get this piece of land if you pay 200 zuz. Well, and if he wouldn't have continued, if he would have just said that, what would happen? What do you think would have happened? Would he have gotten nothing? If he doesn't give 200 zuz, would he have gotten nothing?
Yeah.
So the Gemara doesn't see that. The Gemara doesn't see that. And the Mishnah, that's what it says. That it was necessary that he should say the kefel, he should double it. The rest would have gotten nothing. And the Gemara doesn't see the price. This story of the Mashal, the Gemara doesn't see that. The Gemara doesn't see that he would have gotten nothing. So I'm a little shaky over here. Rashi, maybe Rashi will help us now.
What we have gotten.
What would he have gotten?
Right.
The Imlo Kafala Isi Shomer, the Imlo Yitain, Yito Baosa Sada Kifila Kamagio Bo. About Bishte Sada Shek Saisim Lachav Lo Yito Klum. The Kolshkin Shalayito Baosa Sada Kinegia Chan Chasim. Again, if anybody can help me. The story of the three brothers. If you give to one brother gets one, second brother gets another one, and you get the third one if you pay 200 zuz. And if he doesn't pay 200 zuz, what would you have thought? The im lo yitain yito ba'osa sadek fi chelak hamagiyah bo. Then he only would get of the third field what the third field is a better field. That's the point. I think that's the point. There's a field, grade grade B, and grade A. So he says one brother gets grade B, another brother gets grade B. The third brother could get grade A if he pays 200 zuz. Now, what if he doesn't pay 200 zuz? He won't get the whole grade A. But how much is he going to get?
Grade B.
Let's say there's no grade. Let's say there's no grade B. There's only grade. The third one's grade A. Then he'd get proportionally to what they got. He's going to get in the grade A. How much? And they're going to get also a portion to make up for what.
Right.
But not that he's not going to get anything. That's what I think that's what Rashi the Gemara wants. That in the Mashal it doesn't say that if he doesn't pay 200, he doesn't get anything. He's just not going to get the extra, but he is going to get. Is that Rashi says? He'll get something in the third field, but not the whole thing. He'll get proportional how much he's supposed to get. After they got when they move in, Felas Advam Gomolam Little Helcom Bears Kanan, Shim Loka, Police Yamalo Yito Boklum, and Bears Gilla. So that's what the Gemara wants. That's the Gemara's point. I need maybe to work out more, but that's the Gemara's kasha. Then in the Mishnah, it's mashma that if they wouldn't have doubled it, Moshe wouldn't have doubled it, they would have gotten anything. And the story of the Mashal is not mashma like that. Not that nobody's that kid shouldn't get anything. They got a chelik, and the son, if he gets 200, gives 200 zuz, he'll get a special chelik. And if he doesn't give 200 zuz, he'll get a special chelik. He'll also get a chelik. So the mashal of the rice is not similar to the story of what the Mishnah explains. That's the most kasha. Low kasha. Hamakami the name of Reb Meir v'nochuzu. Oh, the verse of the name of Reb Meir v'nochuzu. That the Mishnah didn't continue the discussion. The rice continued. The Gemara continued the discussion. That the Gemara asked that Reb Gamliel said, well, and Reb Meir says, so that would have been enough to say the Nochazubah. It doesn't have to say Beres Canaan. So there, in the Brisa, and the Gemara, which doesn't say in the Mishnah, there the Gemara is handling the part that would they have gotten like anybody else. The Mishnah sounds like they wouldn't have gotten anything. But then the Gemara explains that it could have said it in a way that they should have gotten something like everybody else. And I have to say that they shouldn't lose their proportion completely. If it would have said Beres Canaan, if it would have said V'nochazu b'sochem, they would have thought that they got by Gilad. They wouldn't have thought that they got in Canaan. I can't say I got 100%, but it's a little bit better than when I was preparing. But maybe tomorrow I'll come back with a better explanation. But if we finish the Machlokas of Meir Chanin and Gamliel, do you need tonight kafel or not? And Chanin and Gamliel said that you don't need, and the only reason why Moshe Rabbeinu had to say it is in order that they should understand well that if they don't do it, they do get like everybody else. I don't think that they lose everything or that they lose the portion in Eretz Canaan. They get a portion in Eretz Canaan, they get a portion in Eretz Gilad like everybody else. And that's why it's necessary to double it. Not that if he didn't do a tonight kafel, they would have gotten Gilad the way they wanted. The Gemara goes on now to ask many questions. I did it very fast. I didn't do a good job now, so we can do it together. And it brings many conditions in the Torah that seem to say it tonight kafel. And it sounds like a mayor. And why did they have to say it tonight kafel? It could have said only one way. You don't need a tonight kafel. So I think it's 10 kashas altogether. There are 9 or 10. Maybe one of them is going to be at Rav Chanina ben Gamliel's side. And that's what the Gemara is going to ask. Is that a right from here that you need a tonight kafel or not? So we start.
Tonight kafel?
That's the subject.
It says 2 times.
Ishlam Darmei, Hana Dechsiv, Im Teitiv says, Im Lo Teitiv, La Pesach HaTasro base. This is in Parshas Bereishis where it talks about Cain and Hevel, and Cain didn't look good. Nafsu Panecha, Alom Kitalama Nafsu Panecha. If you improve your ways, so you'll be forgiven. And if not, then there's sin lurks at the door. So it's a double imitated and low stated. It's a double. It's like a mayor's language. A mayor says you have to have a Tanai couple. Kol Tanai Shenik Tanai that Hashem made into kind. So how comes this? As a right term, Why is it necessary for Hashem to say a double condition? He could have said it just one time. The answer is, he might have thought that if it only said one way, say you're gonna get says, whatever says means, forgiveness or something good, stuff you do good. If you improve yourself, you'll get this good. And if you don't, so nothing. Well, the words of the Gemara are: if you do better, you'll get the reward. If you don't do better, no reward, but no punishment. It is a punishment. So it had to say the other side, not because Rabbi Meir's then, because they had to say there's two sides. Kasha number 2. This talks about when Avrohom sent his servant to get a wife for Yitzchak. And it says that you should go, actually he said, wife doesn't want to come. So it says that if you go to try to get a wife, then then you're potter from my curse, from my shvur. I made a shvur that he has to go. And if you go to ask them, then you potter. And then what? Then you can get a wife for Yitzchak or someplace else also. But it says both ways. It's not true. It says that he gave him a curse. He gave him a shvur that he must do. But then it says, Rashi brings down the pasuk over here.
If you don't find, you're potter. It's not true.
If you don't go to my father's household, so then you have the shvur, whatever it says that there's a shvur that you must. What do you have to do? You have to go. If you don't go, based on me. So we could have already derived the opposite. So that's the most kasha. How come you had to say? But if you went, so then you're potter. Like if you don't go, you're chayiv in the shvur. So isn't that enough? How come we have to say the opposite also? Contrary, mayor, you have to have a double. You have to have a Tanai couple. So if you don't go, the shvur takes effect. And you have to say the opposite also. That if you do go, the shvur doesn't take effect. But according to Chanin and Gamli, you don't need a Tanai couple. Why was it necessary for Avrohom to say both ways? Why was it necessary for Avrohom to double it? What if the woman wants, but the family does not want? So you might think that he's still obligated to bring her against the will of the family. So the pasuk that says how does the pasuk go? Something like that. Not here. The other side. If they don't give her to you. So if you wouldn't have said that, you would have thought that it's not potter only if she doesn't want. But if she wants, even if the family does not want, he's still not potter from the shvur. So Avram had to specify that if the family is not masking, also you're potter from the shvur. So that answers Rav Chanin ben Gamliel why you had to repeat it. It's not just a repetition, it's adding on something you wouldn't have known. That was kasha number 2. Kasha number 3. Imlo, so where Isha, if the woman doesn't want, what's the pasuk over here? Hashiv has been if the woman doesn't want to come. So before I spoke about the family, if as far as the pasuk that Gemara brought about the lo yitnu lach, and here Gemara is going to go the opposite, something about the woman not wanting. Before the Gemara said you have to have a special pasuk to say that even if the woman wants, if the family doesn't want, says pater. And here lo so v'isha lamali isrich sa'at ha'chamen hechad enichal hu lididhu v'lo nichal lidida naisi bal korcha kamash malan also. That if it wouldn't have spoken about the woman not wanting, so you might have thought that he's not pater only if the family doesn't agree. But if the family does agree, even if the girl doesn't agree, also bring her against her will. He's not pater only if the family doesn't want. You have to have a pasuk to say that he's also pater if the girl doesn't want. Next kasha. Bishloma l'Rab Meir. Ani d'chsiv.
Mashma that he was going to get a katan.
Because it's possible to do it against her will. I'm not sure why we just learned if this is another, if it was a whole kasha on its own, or it's a kasha on it only go. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe it has to do with the Gemara, like we said. It's only the point to Ramir that it wouldn't have been shver. Only Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel is shver. But it explains how you have to have both things about the family and also about the girl. Also, it sounds like a Tanai couple that if you go in my laws, then they'll be good. And if you don't, if you are scorn my laws, it's not going to be good. So according to Rabbi Meir, you have to have a Tanai couple. Why do you have to have a Tanai couple? Why did Hashem say it both ways? Again, the answer will be, like I said before, it's going to be good. Bracha. It's not going to be bracha, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a klala. But bracha below klala. The mashmalan that no, if it's going to be before Christ at the Mosul, there's going to be a klala.
I don't get it. Why don't you say every law in the Torah needs to make a couple?
It doesn't say him. It doesn't say him. By all the mitzvahs, it says do it, don't do.
So if I give someone money, I say go buy shoes. So
That's
then
not
that's not
a tanai. That's not a tanai.
That specifically you only got
You made a
money for that.
shlichos for that, and yeah. But if you made a tanai, so then the question is how to make a legal tanai. Similar conscious. Islam the Rameh had the chsiv im tavu shmatem im tamanu. This is already not a pasuk in the Torah. This pasuk in Yeshaya that if you agree and listen, so then tuvar that's going to be good. You'll get the best of the land. If you refuse and you rebel, so then it's going to be bad. So you have to have tonight because that's the way you make it illegal tonight. How come it had to say it both ways? Again, it's same idea over again. That it's said one way. It's true that way, but tonight it's not going to be good. Not going to be good doesn't mean it's going to be bad. No, if you don't, then it's going to be chayv to. This is already a parentheses, which I didn't really see. It says in the pasuk over there, im temanu murisem chayv tuklu. If you refuse and you rebel, the sword is going to devour you. My cherev teuklu. I didn't see this. I was reading it together with you now. So just find the parentheses over here. Amarava milcha galalanisa. Nama desari akusha b'tzalim. Damamar pasponi chaveva b'melach u'b'tzalim kashim lakuf kecharavos. So cherev teuklu. Rashi. Mashmachi lasa mucherev. So cherev tuklu. So the pasuk shot in the pasuk is that the sword is going to consume you, but it's not. The Gemara is saying a Rashi over here that tuklu is something with eating. It's going to eat you up. The cherev is going to eat you up. So the Gemara is mentioning something. Of course, it's a Rashi, it's not the pasuk on the pasuk over there. But the Gemara is mentioning that sometimes is something that you eat also is going to be a sword. Milcha galulanisa. That's a coarse salt. Now the sari, barley bread. Akusha means a hard barley bread. Ubetzali. And
Where's the
onions.
word bread?
Nama's bread. Nama the what?
Now the kisuf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tamamar pas poni chareva b'melach ubetzalem kashim laguf kacharavos. Because it says that pas poni means oven baked bread that is chareva. I guess it means dried out. Like it says here, akusha. Nama the Sawi Akusha, hard barley bread, and together with melach. Melach we said here means coarse salt. So together with onions is difficult to the body like swords. So that's a drash. That's not the part of the pasuk. It says it doesn't mean you can have barley bread with salt and onions. It means a sword. But the drash that it says chayv tuklu, the same some kind of foods are as bad to the body as a sword. But back to the drash again.
What's it to do with tonight?
Nothing. It's just for the pasuk about chayv tuklu. So we dash the pasuk in parentheses. That's why it's in parentheses. The new editions. Full
We're
parentheses.
still waiting for you to, okay.
Next kasha. Bishloma le Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel. Oh, this other way. Till now we had kasha Rabbi Meir's one that was on the side. Now we're taking the side of Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel. I know the chsiv. Low. In lo shachav v'shosach. I didn't get this, so we're doing it together if we could. Lo shachav v'shosach. Lo satis tuma tachas tishech hinati. This is about a sota that the Kohen writes and mashbir her. If a man didn't lie with you and you didn't bear to be defiled from your husband, if being under your husband, hinaki, you should be potter. Ella, the Rabbi Meir, hinaki mi boile. That's all that means. Rashi. We can see Rashi together. I know this even lo shachav hinaki, lo kafal. So I didn't see the pasuk inside. Now Rashi says that it's not double. This is a pasuk of Sot. It doesn't say both ways. Lo kafal, ve'im shachav, lo hinaki. It doesn't say that if a man did not lie with you, you are potter. You're nothing's going to happen. It doesn't say, and if a man did lie with you, you're not going to be potter. It doesn't say that. It says one way, and you understand the other way. That's Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel's language. That doesn't have to say double way. Okay, so Rashi has a kasha. Let's say a terrorist why, but that's the Gemara's point. That it's not necessary to have said the punishment. It just says that if you're innocent, nothing's going to happen, and it's understood that if you're guilty, something's going to happen. But according to Rabbi Meir, it would have been necessary to say both ways. Rabbi Meir, so Rashi puts in that it should have said more with not just hinaki, hinaki. It's the hinaki is a play in the words. Hinaki means to be in it potter, and hinaki means to be strangled. But the Gemara's point is to say that it should have to say v'im shachav hinaki. It also should have said that if you're guilty, you're going to be punished. So again, according to when it's good that it says if you're innocent, nothing's going to happen, and doesn't have to say more than that. Rabbi Meir, it also should have said that if you're guilty, something's going to happen. Rabbi Tanchon, what's the answer?
You can't read the passage right.
Maybe the side helps us. I always get the wrong side of the page. Yeah. Page Bia. Page Bia Osako, Hem Vamar Odisha. Mo Shachav Ishosach, Hem Lo Satis Tumat Achas Ishech, Hinokim Yimai, Amor Meida. He tells to the woman that if a man did not lie with you and you did not veer to become defiled being under your husband, you're going to be innocent potter from these bitter waters.
What shatif mean?
Satis.
Oh, he wants.
Sota. He didn't veer. He didn't go
with it.
He didn't go off the road. He didn't go sota.
Right.
The word sota means to go to veer. So in Kitzur, the pasuk in English would be that if you're innocent, nothing's going to happen, and that's all it says. Rashi cast maybe they'll say more, but
So what's the question is why is there no warning if you go the opposite?
now the warning. Question is this enough? Is it enough to say that if you're innocent, nothing's going to happen? According to Rabbi Chanina, it's enough because we can understand the opposite. That if you're
Is it true that is it possible that we already warned before God?
So Rashi takes care of that. That's Rashi. But the Gemara does talk. I didn't see. Rashi just talks about the Gemara talks about this pasuk. This pasuk says if you're innocent, nothing's going to happen. And according to Rabbi Chanina, that's enough. But according to Rabbi Meir, also I say the other side You can't just derive it by yourself. It has to say, and if you're guilty, it is going to happen. The Gemara is putting into the din of
And before that
Tanai
wasn't
couple.
said, wasn't spoken.
So Rashi talks about if it says other thing. Rashi, we're looking the Gemara alone. The Gemara here alone doesn't talk about if it says more. Rashi asks the kasha. Rashi says it there. So the Gemara answers something about hinakik said. So I don't know what that means. Rashi says below yud. The Medrash say kimakroi kimikro. The dash the way that it's read. The shvur rishon and lo shachad tehei nekia. When Masaras Nami Midrash Ashvua Kamaisa and the Shadi Akra the Basrei Chinoki. God kisatis Koma im satis tischanki. Rashi says that there is a drash to say I don't see in the words Hinoki ksiv, but it means also something about Chinoki. Rashi is saying that there is a drash. But Meir says it does say it. It doesn't say it on a drash level. It does say it. It also says that you're going to be punished if you do. Which could be dash and also chinaki. Doesn't have to say chinaki, it's understood. I'm going to make a dot over here because it's in the Gemara that's the opposite. Here the Gemara now is taking the side of Rabbeir. That does say, according to the Drash, it does say something about being punished. And according to Rabbeir, it's not necessary. The answer is this way. That it was necessary to say a punishment over here, even according to Avrohom Gamliel, because it might have taken it just to mean that if you're, how would I say, im lo shachav yepater, im shachav, so there's no hinaki, there's no hinaki, which would probably mean that the pasuk talks about that there's going to be hinaki and she's going to get reward also. Does Rashi say anything about that? No, I don't see any Rashi. I don't see enough. But I guess it means to say that there's mashma over here that if she's innocent, she'll have it good. She'll have something good about it. So if you're not innocent, you're not going to have the good. But you wouldn't know that she would be punished. Kamash Malan that she's going to be punished also. You might think that she's Isur, she did a bad thing, but not that she's going to be punished.
Shachad ish means lying with a man.
Yes, yes. Bishlam with Meir. Hani the same. Who is Chat above Yom Shlishi? Another kasha the is asking again under Meir son. You do the sprinkling of the paraduma waters. Who is Chat above Yom Shlishi Yom Shvi Yitor? It says if he gets sprinkled with on the third and seventh day, he becomes purified. If he doesn't get sprinkled, he's not tar. So how come it has to say both times? Because that's the way to talk. Always you need a Tanai couple. It's not that Tanai over here, but it means that it has to say both ways. You don't derive one from the positive from the negative. Why does it have to say both ways? The answer is it's true. You might think that will do it on the third and seventh day, the sprinkle, they all become tar. But if not, one of them is good enough. The third is good enough. The seventh, you don't do two times. But yeah, but one sprinkle is good enough. So that's to say both times. So that's why that's to say it again. Next kasha.
Yeah. How do we come to it did not have the Tanai? What did we say? It didn't have a replacement.
Which one are you asking on? We said that according to Meir it does say both ways. That it says the drash of Hinaki also. And then the kasha was now we turned the table. So why does it have to say Hinaki? This whole drash of saying that there's a punishment also, you don't need it. The answer is you would have thought that if she doesn't do anything wrong, she's innocent, she'll get something good. Not just she'll be put there, but she'll get something good. Hinaki implies something good will happen to her. The next of Nizra Zara, she'll have children whatever. But if not, if she's guilty, so then no punishment, no reward. So mashmalan, that there's also punishment. Same as the same style as Pam as the Gemara the whole time.
She's not such a good lady.
We know she's not good. The question is if she's going to be.
Right.
What do you mean good? She was Mazana. If she was Mazana, she's going to be punished. As the pasuk says over there, she's going to blow up.
Right, I understand. But she didn't have the relationships with him, but she was.
No. I'm talking about she had relations. The question is if she had relations or not. That's the question. The question is if she had relations or not, and she says she didn't. She was secluded, but she didn't have relations, and we that she did, and we make her to drink the Mayim Amor, and we say that if you have relations, you're going to explode, and if you don't have relations, it's going to be good. And you have to say both ways, otherwise you would have thought that it's only half a story. She won't have it good, won't have it bad. Commercial she'll have it bad. The next kasha is something's wrong over here. I don't know what this is. don't get this. Mhm. Let's just stop here. So we didn't finish the Mishnah yet. I didn't get this last part.
If you said, because we have a time off from before, so we
So it says it again. We just finished already. We finished already. Now it says it again. Is this
No,
kasha
no,
that it says?
the pasuk already says both things. So why is the pasuk saying again? It's not nothing to do with night off.
No, stop with the parentheses now.
I think so.
Okay, we are putting parentheses. Why is it again supposed to do with the third and the seventh? Is there Sadat Chamen Shlishi Lemute Sheni Shvi Sheni and Shvi Lemute Shishi to come out the Meitara? Avrecha David B'Shlishi Uveshmini to come out B'Meitara B'Shapidam Kamash Malan. I would have thought that when it says the third and the seventh, the third means that you shouldn't do it on the second, and the seventh means you shouldn't do it on the sixth. But if you make it that it should be more, like the third and the eighth, it's okay. Kamash Malan, there has to be dafka that amount, the right amount of days between the third and the seventh. Next kasha v'chitov yom hashvi ramali is true. So that the chamen hanami l'kashma v'chuma b'chad namisagi kamash malan. So even for truma also you have to have the whole seder of shlishi and shvi. So Avnissan tells us all this is parentheses. We're okay, and we'll see tomorrow again, just to understand it. Okay, I didn't do a good job on
Here
that.
Rashi says not Rebbe Chanina Korach.
Parentheses. And what does the Aleph do for us over here? Whose Aleph is this? Okay, we have to see. To be stay tuned with tomorrow. She wishes last tomorrow. Okay, I didn't get the whole last tomorrow. There's Hashem to be fixed up tomorrow.
Very good.